Her hand shook. The little piece of paper crumpled in her grasp. There must be some mistake. Who thought this would be funny the week before Christmas? I need to bring my toys home for the kids, she repeated. The checkout lady pointed at her hand. Clearly, this was a joke and a cruel one at that. But when she finally opened the note, she nearly fell to the ground. Hello, wonderful people. I'm Scott Leffler for Wonderbot. And here is Customer Goes to Pay Layaway. Incredulous and audacious note inside. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. Christmas was Nancy's favorite time of year. Ever since she was a child, she adored the few decorations her family could afford. They didn't have much and they couldn't buy the fanciest presents, but they were happy. It was always the thought that counted. She hoped to instill the same Christmas spirit in her own family someday, but she never thought it would be so difficult. When Nancy met Michael, she knew she was ready to settle down. She didn't have to look anywhere else for happiness. They both dreamed of having a family together. So, understandably, they didn't need to take things slow. Michael was old-fashioned. He asked her father for his blessing before he proposed. They were married a year after their first date. They didn't think things could get any better. As the years went by, Nancy gave birth to two beautiful boys. They had Michael's eyes and her nose. There was no denying them. Michael and Nancy worked hard to present every day for breakfast and dinner. The weekends were made for family bonding. Everything was perfect. They never expected fate to interrupt their happiness. When Michael was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, Nancy refused to give up. She brought him to every specialist there was. She cooked him the healthiest meals. She brought him on their weekend strolls with their family, even if that meant pushing him down the path in a wheelchair. A few months after his diagnosis, Michael slipped away in his sleep. Nancy couldn't have expected her year to get any worse. Shortly after Michael's death, Nancy was let go from work. Understandably, the pressure started to get to her. And before she knew it, she slipped into a depression. Her sister came to her aid and made sure to keep her and her boys fed, washed, and busy. It took weeks of consoling, but Nancy was finally ready to find a job. With Christmas just around the corner, she knew it was going to be tough. Nancy didn't have much savings left. With little time left with the love of her life, she wanted to make it count. They burned through the majority of their savings in a matter of months. She didn't think she had anything to worry about. After all, she was employed at the time and had a reasonably good job. She didn't want her kids to wake up on Christmas morning disappointed. But there were some obvious challenges. Nancy couldn't find a full-time job. Every role advertised was for part-time flexible Christmas staff. The hours were all over the place, meaning she wouldn't be able to spend as much quality time with her kids. She needed to make sure this Christmas was as special as the ones before. So she took the Christmas contract to make sure she could afford gifts. But she didn't expect this on her son's letter to Santa. Nancy sat under the kitchen table well past midnight. The boys were already asleep, so she was making a list of the items they wanted the most. A Bumblebee Transformer figure, walkie-talkies, Lego Harry Potter, Lego Jurassic World, Uno, Jenga. Expensive, but affordable. But all we really want is a Nintendo Switch so we can all play together as a family, the note read. Her heart sank. How could one gift be so expensive? But her sister had a solution. Nancy's sister, Rose, brought her to Walmart where they strolled through the aisles with a trolley. She watched Rose pick up not one, but two Nintendo Switches and place them on top of what they had already picked out. Are you mad? I've just got my first paycheck in weeks. I can't afford all these now. Then her sister took the handles and walked away from the checkout. Where was she going? Rose unloaded their goods at a special desk at the back of the store that she'd never seen before. She gave the cashier a fistful of cash in return for a card. I'll cover the down payment. You can pay off the rest every week, Rose said as she handed her the card. Nancy's eyes filled with tears. Rose had already done so much for her. How could she ever repay her? But Nancy's wasn't destined for smooth sailing just yet. Nancy worked round the clock. She picked up extra shifts and left the boys with Rose just so she could see their smiles on Christmas morning. There was nothing she wanted more than to see their happiness after such a hard year. After a few weeks, she finally saved up enough to pay off the toys. She waited patiently in line and handed the woman her card. "I'll pay off what's left and take them today if that's all right," she smiled. But when the cashier entered her number into the system, her face dropped. "I'm sorry, but there isn't anything showing for this account." Nancy's heart stopped. "Can you check again?" The computer beeped. "Yeah, I'm getting nothing. Usually this only happens if an account's been closed." A pain spread across Nancy's chest. There was $500 left. I was here last week. Tears began to build in the corner of her eye. Then a second worker whispered to the cashier. Nancy's luck was about to change. "Excuse me," the cashier continued to whisper. "I need you to recheck. There must be a mistake." The cashier returned to the desk and smiled. "There's been no mistake, ma'am. It seems as though your goods have been paid for in full. We'll have them with you in just a few moments." Nancy tried to correct them, but they were adamant. She was ushered to the side before they continued on with the rest of their customers. What was going on? Was this a prank? Nancy immediately called Rose. "What have you done? You can't afford that money. I'm giving it back to you," Nancy whispered down on the phone. But Rose was clueless. If it wasn't her, then who was it? The cashier returned with all of Nancy's goods. "Have a good Christmas," they smiled at her. When Nancy got to her car, she broke down in tears. Was she dreaming? This couldn't be real. But everything was about to make sense. Nancy and Rose scoured the internet. Apparently, multiple users had similar experiences during the lead up to Christmas. Nancy considered herself lucky. Now she had some spare money to get them back on their feet. Most importantly, her boys would be happy with full stomachs on Christmas Day. But who was paying off everyone's layaways? After weeks of online speculation, the Good Samaritan finally stepped forward. "So I was trying to do this anonymously, but due to some circumstances, y'all know nothing stays secret these days." Announcing it on his Instagram, actor Tyler Perry admitted to paying off people's layaways in Walmarts across the country. But Tyler wasn't the only one making a difference. Pay Away the Layaway has become a huge online group, the members of which make donations to pay off layaway balances during the Christmas season. Nancy was in awe of the work people were doing to help strangers. But as she searched the web, she discovered something shocking. 11-year-old Brady Procon made the news after he joined the Pay Away the Layaway group. The 6th grader told his parents of his intentions to help buy some toys for other kids this year. "Not a lot of kids are as fortunate as others, so I thought it would be nice to help a kid this Christmas," the young boy explained. Nancy couldn't believe the kindness of these people. She wanted to give back. That Christmas, Nancy was inspired. Her year had been made all from the selfless act of a stranger. How could she ever repay them? Over the next few months, she worked day and night to get back to a comfortable position. And when she got back on her feet the following Christmas, she joined the Pay Away the Layaway group. She hoped she would make a family as grateful as she was. But would her good fortune last long?